Okay, welcome to the second video for applied math here. And the first thing I want to do is go through the questions from yesterday's assignment. And when I recorded the grades, like I said, I'm checking to see if you've done them, done the notes. But obviously, if there's any math mistakes, we're going to check them as we do the next video. So that way, keep your notes, keep your problems. That way you can check them and I'll give the answers and you can go through and make sure you're doing those correctly. And it gives a good review of what we did yesterday. So yesterday I had you turn these decimals into percent, so let's check those. The first one was 0.75, so that should be 75%. Okay, 0.30 should have came out to 30%. Now remember, what you're doing on these is moving the decimal 2 times to the right. And then you put your percentage sign so that you can see that that's a percent now. 0.02 comes out to 2%. 0.005 should have came out to 0.5%. So that is less than 1%. You move it twice and it's 0.5%. So it's actually half a percent. 3.26, I think. My paper got ripped off, so I think it's 3.26 is what I had you do. So that's going to be 326%, which is more than 100%, but that's what that one comes out to. You move the decimal twice, and it's 326%. So check your work, make sure you did those correctly, and then I had you, after that, I had you turn these percentages into decimals. So 35%. Okay, that's going to turn into 0.35. You move the decimal 2 times to the left. Now what you don't do is you do not rewrite the percent. Okay, 35% does not become 0.35% again. Okay, you're turning the percent into a decimal. So the decimal over here does not have a percent. Otherwise you're saying 35% is the same as 0.35%, and it's not. Okay, 35% becomes 0.35 as a decimal. Okay, then you've got 17%, that becomes 0.17. 16.2%, move the decimal twice from where it already is, and it's 0.162. Okay, 0.03%. Okay, now this one has a decimal here. We're not moving it to the right, that's when you're turning it to a percent. We're moving it to the left. So your answer is 0.0003. I started here, there was already a 0 there, moved it twice, and 2 more zeros got to be there, okay? So it's 0.0003, okay? Then 142%, move the decimal twice, and you've got 1.42, okay? So that's turning decimals into percents and then turning percents into decimals. Check your answers on your earlier assignment. That way you know too to keep your assignments and keep your notes together. That way you can go back through and look and keep those together, okay? The other thing I had you do was find the percent of something. Okay, so I had you find 18% of $10. So you would turn that 18% into a decimal, what we just did. You're going to turn it into a decimal and then multiply that times your total. $10, I don't need the 10.00. Remember we talked about zeros that aren't needed. And then I'm going to multiply these. 8 times 0, 8 times 1, 1 times 0, 1 times 1. Okay, 2 decimals, it's $1.80. So 18% of $10 is $1.80. Now the rest I'm going to do, put in a calculator so we can kind of shorten this. Okay, actually this one's going to be $12. Okay, so 12% of $100 is $12. 3% of $1. Okay, 3% of $1 is 3 cents. Okay, and then 125% of $15. So you're going to multiply 15 times 1.25. I think it's 18. 1875, okay? $18.75. Okay? $18.75 is 125% of 15. Okay? So check those answers, and then I'm going to move into the rest of this video is going to be the new, not really new, we're still building on this, but that way you know I'm going to continue on. You will have an assignment at the end of this video for today's. Just to kind of repeat to get you into the swing of things, this video is going to be scheduled to post at midnight tonight. So it posts at midnight, and once it goes up, you don't have to do it at midnight. Whenever you wake up and see it and go through and look, you will have until midnight of tomorrow night. So, well, I'm saying this because I'm posting it on Monday. Basically at midnight tonight, which is Monday night, this will post, and you'll have all day Tuesday to do this. So when this posts and goes on, you'll have till midnight that night. Okay, so this is going to be March 31st, this next assignment that we're going to be doing. Okay, and it'll get easier once we get into the swing of things and you start seeing it, but you know, you'll see it. Now this one that we just did, I've been going through today and putting those that are turning them in as they turn you in. I gave you an extra day on it because I know it was new and I want to make sure we get the system down. So anyway, so those will be posted as they come in. What I want to move into is we're still working with percentages of things, you know, and we're going to stay with money because that's our most common thing with this. That's what you're going to mainly see, but you can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be just money. If you're trying to find 18% of just a classroom size or something, and you've got so many students and you want to find out how many 18% of that class is, you can do this. You can, you know, if there's 100 students and you multiply it times 18%, there's 18 students. But basically, we're going to stick with money because that's what you're going to use the most in everyday life. But when you walk into a store, you know, this is where we see percentages. You walk into a store and a lot of times they'll say 50% off sale or 35% off sale. And I know a lot of times you're like, well, how much am I saving? And what stores do a lot of times, they'll get, you know, they'll put that out there, 50% off, but then they raise the price of their product. And so you may not actually be saving money. Yes, you're going to take half off, but if you don't know how to do that, or if the percentages get harder, that's why they do 35%, 25%, because you may not know, you know, like you're going, okay, what is the better buy? Is it just better to buy at this other store that, yes, it doesn't have a percentage off, but the item is cheaper? So you have to kind of do that when you go in stores and constantly be checking what is the better buy, and it's good to do that because it, you know, it saves money. And but basically, percentages off something. There's two ways to do it. There's a way that we're going to do first and kind of use what we just learned. But there's actually a shortcut when we're done with this way and go through it and show you a shortcut that you can use. If you can use a calculator in the store, or your phone now that have calculators on it. But basically, if I walk into a store and let's say something is $120, okay, and I get 30% off. Okay, so I'm going to come in to the store and they say, hey, this item, this coat you've been looking at is $120, but you get 30% off. Well, I want to know then how much am I paying? Now, we're not going to deal with tax yet on these. We're just figuring out how much I'm going to pay before tax. So when I go to figure this out, what I can do is just do what we did. Take $120 times 0.3, okay, because move the decimal twice, it's 0.3. And so when I do that, okay, $120 times 0.3, I get $36. So 30% off is $36, okay? And I say, okay, does that mean I'm paying $30 or $36? No, this is how much I am getting off of the item. So to figure out what I'm going to have to go pay then, I'm going to take that $120, the original price, and I'm going to subtract how much I get taken off. So I take this off, okay, and I'm going to be paying $84 before tax. So that lets me kind of know, okay, is that cheaper than a store that's maybe selling it for $80? Yes, they don't have a percentage off, but their price is lower. This happened to me car shopping. One time, car shopping is always fun, but I say that sarcastically, but I went to a store or a car place that they were offering $5,000 above your trade-in value. And I went to the store first, or I went to this car lot first because I thought, well, I'll start there because, I was looking at different cars, and I went in there and I noticed that their prices were about $4,000 more than what I'd seen online for other dealerships for the car that I was looking at. And so the guy come out and he was like, "Hey, you love our deal? Is that what you brought?" I said, "Well, yeah," but I said, "You're charging way more for your." "Oh yeah, but you get 5,000 above." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm really only getting about 1,000 more because you're charging me 4,000 more to begin with." "Oh no, we give you 5,000." So as and most car dealerships are going to work down 1,000, so I felt like at that point I was not going to get a better deal. So you have to always kind of use this math to figure out what is your better buy. So if you walk into a store and you get that percentage off, you now know you can multiply times this decimal, figure out how much you get taken off, and you take it off the total, $120, and you're going to be paying $84. Let's do another one of that. Let's say it's not as clean as far as the first price. Maybe the first price is $135.75, okay, and I get 35% off. Okay, so these are not numbers you can necessarily go in and do in your head. I mean, this is going to have change to it, and then you get a percentage that's not an even like 10%. 10% is a little bit easier, but something like this is more challenging. But this is what you usually see in stores. They usually do things like this. So 135.75 times 0.35. Okay, so I'm going to put that in my calculator, which you can use. Okay, remember in this class we can use we're not in math lab anymore, and you do have access to calculators, this basic calculator things. But 135.75 times 0.35, and so I get 47, and then 51.5125. And so you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, what do I do with that? This is how much money we get taken off. So we got to think in terms of money. And so we're looking at here's the end of our currency. This is the pennies. And I got to figure out, okay, what's that mean then? What are they going to do? And so if we're looking at this is the hundredth space. This is where the pennies go. If this is a 5 or higher, okay, which it's not, but if it was a 5 or higher, it would raise this to the next penny, to 2. But it's not, it's 4 or below, which means this stays just 1 penny. So that means this is 47.51. They're going to round this to the nearest penny. And so this is 47.51 that I get taken off my original amount. So we're going to go over here, 135.75, and we're going to subtract 47.51. Okay? So at this point, it's going to cost me $88.24. Okay, so that's what that's how you could do that, even with more challenging numbers. Okay. Another thing that happens is, and I'm gonna come back to. Well, no, we can redo that. But basically, this is how you find it. If it's just 1% off, you've got a total. You can do that with the math that we learned yesterday, and start figuring out how much money you can take off these totals and figure out how much you're going to pay. Now, one thing that happens sometimes in stores is you have totals that you build on, meaning you go and you have a coupon. This happens, my mother, she shops at Kohl's a lot, and I think that Kohl's actually pays her to shop there because she gets all these little coupons and things that, like, if you spend this much and you get this, but then you get this much Kohl's cap. Anyway, she ends up saying, I got this shirt for like 20 cents. But basically, it builds, those coupons build. It's not just one coupon when you go in. So how does that work? How could you do those totals? So let's take, for instance, let's start with an easy total. And let's say we have a $100 item, okay? And we go in and we have a 50% off sale. They're having a 50% off sale. Okay, so we walk into the store, they have a $100 item and you get a 50% off sale. But then let's say also you have a 10% off coupon in your pocket. Okay, so they're having a 50% off sale. This is the price of the item, but you have a 10% off coupon. Now, how these coupons work, if you notice, it's always in the print, the little fine print there, is you don't get to take 10% off the original total. You don't get to use this coupon and say, hey, I get $10. That 10% of that is $10. So not only do I get the 50% off and then get $10 off, that's not how those work. It builds, so they'll take the first discount first, and then your coupon works on your total. Okay, and a lot of times too, you'll notice some coupons will say 10% off one item. Well, that works even different. If your total came to $100, but you had an item, they're only going to take 10% off one of those items. But let's look at this one. Let's say we're buying an item that's $100, 50% off sale, and we have a 10% off coupon. So we're going to take off 50% first, so times 0.50 or 0.5, and it's $50. Okay, and so we subtract that from here. Okay, and we get $50. Okay, and I know some of this you could have done without writing it out but I'm just trying to keep it uniform, keep it the same for you. But $50 then is how much you go up to the cash register and you have to pay. Well, then you give them the 10% off coupon, and they're going to take that off the $50, not the $100. Okay, so this is a building percentage where you do one and then you get another coupon on top of that, but it's off the new total. So you have to do this total first, and then you can do this total. So now we're going to do 0.10 of 50, and we actually get $5 off. So we were going to pay 50 now because we got 50% off, but now we get, because of the coupon, another $5 off. So our total was $45. Okay? So that's one that builds kind of coupon. And so we're going to do a couple of those that I'm going to have you do. Let me do one more so you can see it. Let's say you have, we'll make this one a little bit tougher. Let's say this now is $132, and we'll keep it even though. $132, and the store is having a 35% off sale. Okay, but then I have a 20% off coupon. Okay, so $132. The sale is 35% off. The coupon is 20% off. So let's do that real quick. And I'm going to use the calculator. Okay, so first off, we're going to take 132 times 0.35. Okay, 132 times 0.35 is 4620. Okay, 4620. That's what it looks like in your calculator, but that's 46.2. We need a zero for the cents, so it's 4620. I go over here and I take that away from my $132. Okay? So I have $85.80. That is my new total after taking the discount off the sale. So $85.80 is going to be what I walk up to the cash register, and then I get a 20% off of that. So I'm going to take $85.80 times 0.2. So you move the decimal twice, it's 0.2. And that comes to $17.16. So that's the discount I get with my coupon. So $85.80 minus $17.16. Okay. So my new total is $68.64. Now that's before tax, but we're not going to do that tax yet. But that's what your total is before tax, $68.64. Okay. One last thing I want to show you is the shortcut, and it doesn't necessarily work on this one that you're doing 2 coupons, you can use it, but you still have to do 2 steps because you have to do each total different. But let's go back to, let's say something's $120, and I get, we'll do 20% off. Okay, so $120 and I get 20% off. Now the way I showed you to start out with is you take $120 times 0.2. Okay, and you figure out that is $24. Okay, and then you subtract that from the 120. Okay, so you're going to end up with $96. Okay, so that is the way that we did this. You can keep using that, but a shortcut so that you can do this in one step. And you can actually use this. I've done this in my head in the store sometimes when I need to go a little bit quicker and the percentages are a little bit easier. They're not like 35% or 72% or something like that. But basically, what you can do to get to that total in one step is, let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to leave that up there to know that we need to come out to 96. But if we get 20% off of something, that means, this is where if I was in a class, I'd be like, does anybody know then how much percentage we are paying for then? But anyway, I can't do that. But if you have to pay for 100% of an item and you get 20% off, that means you're paying for 80% of the item. Okay? Because every item, if you're paying the full price, you're paying 100% of it. And if you're getting this discount, then you subtract that and you're paying for 80% of the item. So what I can do is, instead of going through multiplying it times 0.2 and then subtracting it, I can just take the total and multiply it times 80%, 0.8. And so when I do that, 120 times 0.8, I get 96 in one step. Okay? So you can do that. I've been in a store and I've seen it where it's like, hey, this is a $130 item and you get 40% off. Well, if I get 40% off, then I'm paying for 60% of it. And I just do that real quick. I just do 130 times 0.6, and I know that I'm paying $78. One step. And you could do that, phone calculator, you can do that real quick and kind of know. I do that as I'm shopping so that I can know quickly, am I saving money or not. Okay, so that's a shortcut that you can go back and watch and kind of try some and see if it comes out. You can do it both ways and see if they come out even, if they come out the same. I'm going to put some problems up though that I want you to do along with the notes that you're going to show. Okay, so you're going to find 50% off of $120. Okay, so an item is $120, you're going to find 50%. You're going to find 40% off of $75. And you're going to tell me what you're paying. Okay, so take 50% off and then tell me what you're paying. Take 40% off and then tell me what you're paying. So you're going to tell me that what is left to pay. Okay, so you're finding how much off this is and then telling me how much you're going to pay. Then I want you to do one of those compound ones. Okay, and so this one is 25% off of $100. But then you have a coupon that is 15% off purchase. So you get that discount first, and then you coupon this 15% off, and you're going to tell me what is left to pay. Okay? So that'll be your next assignment for March 31st, Tuesday. March 31st, like I said, this will pop up at midnight. And you may, I don't know, some of you guys, I've been getting emails all through the night of responses and things. And of course, I answer them when I get up, or, I've got other things that we have to do first. And then I try to respond as quick as I can. So anyway, this will be for March 31st. Thank you.